How you been, man?
Stressed, concerned, bouncing all the emotions. Um, you know, that's I worry on different levels, right? From my friends' businesses, I worry. I'm making sure I'm connecting with people because of the isolation.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I really want to make like I'm starting to print out like my phone lists and just make sure like I have my favorites. I feel like I gravitate to very easily, and then I have, well, what about this person? Like
Right.
this person could probably use a hello. Uh, and so, but how about you? How about you?
I mean, it's aside from looking forward to those escapes, like go out to dinner or take the kids to the park or something.
Mhm.
It's been fine. I mean, we've been busier than before. I mean, we're still in this now. The busy has changed a little bit. My day is busy. It's just the evening and weekends. That's the hard part, right? So the day is as busy as always, but not being able to just get out for a little bit or go to the park, that's particularly driving my wife crazy. But
Is it, just the environment not changing? Is it just a different type of experience because it's all maybe like this?
yeah, and I think it's no matter what house you live in, right? It's one of those. I wake up, I grab a cup of coffee, I'm in the office. Monotony of it, but it's not bad. Like I hear some other folks are just really bouncing off the walls. I'd say we just need a change of pace, for once in a while. But my wife, I think the biggest thing that we're dealing with is because she still has to go in,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
Is every week it's law of probability, right? It's is it possible? Yeah, is it probable? Well, the longer she goes in, the probability creeps up,
of course.
right? Her getting it. And last week they had a scare that one of her patients was tested. They came in
Mm.
right to her clinic and was tested positive, but thankfully she didn't see them, and thankfully the nurse practitioner didn't come down. But she had another friend who's a surgeon in the same hospital, was exposed to somebody within a few hours, had 103-degree fever, tested positive within hours. Wife tested positive within hours. Colleagues all tested positive.
Oh wow, so it's real hot.
Yeah, so what we think about there is because he was intubated, that there was just like this. It's like you tapped right into it,
Yeah.
right? And so it's like, yeah, we worry. I mean, she's got her whole routine now that she comes home, comes into the garage, strip. We have a change of clothes there for her. She puts that on. She takes those clothes straight to laundry, puts it on, and if it gets worse, we'll just tell her to go live with her mom for until we
Yeah.
get through it. Because so that's that I don't know. And then of course the financial impacts. Everybody's always worried about. Now they're not getting bonuses. NTT hasn't said anything yet, so it's just you mix it all together, right?
Yeah.
So.
And so it sounds like, so from the home front, you're dealing with a couple of things, right? And it sounds like you've got some good strategies in place, right? So there is the home feeling like you're kind of locked in,
Yeah.
and then there is the probability of catching something, and so with the home locked in, like, do you like have like a regular habits of like, hey, we're all gonna go and we're gonna go for a walk, or
Yep.
like we started suddenly playing frisbee, like
Yep.
we have a frisbee that we played with occasionally, but now like literally we went for a 2 hour walk. It was 1 mile and
Uh-huh.
2 hours to walk it because we basically did frisbee throwing the entire way there and the entire way back.
Yeah.
But
I think that's the biggest thing that we do is it's the routine. So the daytime is the easiest part during the week, right? And the nighttime routine. I'd probably say the weekdays are the easiest because the routine is the same, right? Because we're still working full time, right? So that hasn't changed. So our daytime. So by the time we get Declan, it's dinner, play for an hour, bed, right? And then our evenings are the same after that, which is usually prep for the next day and go to bed. But the weekends are a little bit different. So we've been doing more, cooking outside, going on walks, going on hikes, um, just in the backyard or the neighborhood, or so
yeah,
that's nice, right? But we do try and balance, do some honeydew stuff and then get our butts outside, right? Just to feel the sunshine on your face, type of thing.
it's not just a list of just all the to dos and chores. It's like, we need to like no expectations. Like we're just leaving.
Well, that's what you should. Yeah, no expectations. That's what we've been trying to focus on, which is like Saturday we got stuck into a lot of honeydews. And
Mhm.
Declan's a real good alarm clock of you're not spending enough time with me alarm. He's like, ah! It's like, okay, we got to get him outside.
It's awesome though. Like
Yeah.
you need that humanity, right? To be
Yeah.
like we're not machines. We do need something.
Yeah, yeah, and I tell you, it's so since he's not in daycare, his grandmother has been providing the daycare, right? And if anybody's had a change, it's probably Declan and his grandmother, because Declan's no longer going to daycare, hanging out with 20 of his best friends, right? And his mother is being worn, or the grandmother worn out, because this kid never sits still, never. He won't sit and watch anything. He won't sit and color. He is constantly. If he is sitting still, it's because you're pushing him in something.
Yeah,
right.
And it's quiet. Something's wrong.
Yeah, that's right.
It's usually my tell with my daughter is like if da, 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 and it's like, it is awfully quiet in here. Something is bound to be going on that I should probably just make sure we're good. Us having more time with the kids is so incredible, right? I'm loving every second of it. Now it's hard, right? But it's just so awesome. It's just so awesome.
It is. I stayed for dinner, and we started doing at least 2 nights a week where her mother and then her brother comes over. We obviously work from home, but we do family dinners a little bit more often. So to your point, there's been and I think everybody's been saying there's a bigger focus on family, and it's hard.
The uptake on the family, and you're starting to really have those conversations.
Yeah.
Can really, and obviously there's friends and people you're reaching out to.
Yeah.
Right? I think just the volume of interaction like this, right, is it's real interaction, right? It's there's no agenda, right? It's like, hey, how are you?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and it's one of my Marine Corps buddies shot me a text. He's just like, comms check. I was like, all good.
That's awesome though, right? Just it's not hard to do, right?
No, it's not. And we with OEW, they've started doing the phone tree thing, and we have been running into some of our honorees that are just going crazy. Their PTSD is kicking in hard.
Yeah.
And we've had one of our guys that is just one of our most revered honorees. One of our original guys. He's a triple amputee. Mm-hmm. All the way up to the top of the thighs, and then half an arm. And he's just one of these magnanimous characters, right? We would hike around with him in a backpack during the hard obstacles, and he'd get down and do his thing when he could, or we'd put him on a carabiner and help him kind of do rope work. But it's one of those guys that's just like, I'm going to try and do everything I possibly can. He's certified to skydive, and all this crazy stuff. Yeah. But and recently he came back, so he kind of graduated. You don't really graduate, but you kind of matriculate through to where you feel comfortable again. So he was out, and he kind of came back to us, which was good timing because it's before COVID hit. So we did another race with him, and great time. But being cooped up, has kind of shut down his coping mechanism, which is to go out and do stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's really kind of impacted him. So we, thank God. But the team is just doing all these phone calls to honorees that we know of, just to keep in touch. To your point, it's when there's something like this, we use Zoom all the time now, and it's we've caught a couple of guys that are just really just like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I work with a lot of people that that struggle, right, with things that they focus on.
Yeah,
and it's sometimes they're addiction, sometimes they're just bad personal habits, sometimes it's things that their environment they started creating a lot of bad choices, and we've lost I used to check in with them daily almost,
right,
and where we would get together, or we would do things.
Yeah,
and so that's been something that's been really stressful for me, is just me keeping an eye and doing my best just to help. But we would do stuff for an hour or two together,
right?
And now I can't create that situation as much, and so that's and I work with the police department a lot, and so we were talking about what we can do, because they're look, we don't want this to cause these people to kind of flip over now, and then I'm dealing with them.
Yeah.
How do I there's a very clear line. So it's pretty wild. And so I'm curious, for your opinion. So I want to switch to kind of your business insights, because I know you're a machine in this area. What are you seeing that businesses are doing, and or what are your recommendations do you think that businesses should take advantage of and or do, either with the people or for the people or in the market? wherever you feel comfortable.
Yep. Well, I think what businesses are doing, what at least what I'm exposed to, right, is everybody is still choking on their BCP, right? Because it's so uncertain. It's uncharted territory. It's unprecedented uncharted territory for a lot of businesses. But I think what I have been seeing with some is it's amping up the level of communication, because I think that's if you can do one thing, that has to be the thing that you do, and it has to be authentic, right? It can't just be communication for communication's sake because you feel like you have a BCP that requires it, or you have some type of corporate social responsibility that requires it. It has to be authentic. Because people are worried. They're worried about their jobs. They're worried about impact. There's some people that over worry, right? And they need to be communicated with, right? And there's those that under worry, if that's a correct word, but that just still value it. Like I don't worry too much in business. I got some, but it's one of those, I just need a little bit, just give me a little bit of communication of the certain areas, like tell me how financially stable we are, right? And that helps me out. And those that aren't, it's, I think, knowing that, so like my wife's practice, it's small, right? But they've been communicating in terms of how to treat patients and how they're trying to deal with the situation, but they haven't been overly communicative of how they're running the business.
Okay.
And that's honestly our bigger worry than getting COVID, right? Like it's a private practice, and you probably know there's not a lot of private practices in healthcare anymore.
Right.
Like they've all been bought up by hospitals.
Right.
So I think that's probably one of the biggest things is communication. And if you are a small business, it's like, get on top of that SBA loan. It's like this thing isn't ending anytime soon. You're not going to, you could lay people off, but I hear great stories of small and medium businesses where they're pulling out of savings, or, getting, they're taking care of their core, and your flex staff. It's like, that's a fact of life. And people they need to then go apply for it's when everybody has to be very aware of what's going on and do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah. And I love that you really focus on it's other conversations I've had. It's been talking about like, kind of like, having empathy and making sure that, you're connecting and doing these things. You actually highlight something that's super important that I have yet to hear is, yes, we need to do our job and we want to make sure you're healthy, but more importantly, you as the owner of the super large business or smaller need to communicate how we're doing.
Yep.
Like to give that, because in the world where there's a lot of uncertainty.
Yep.
Right. I feel like your insight there is like, we're okay. Like,
yep.
Like we've either we're covering our expenses, and in this situation we are still okay, yep. Or no, we're pulling from savings and we're good for 6 months.
Yep.
So we're in this together, but if I need help from you,
yep,
then know where we are, because it gives us 9 months.
Yep.
We all like took a little on the chin.
Yeah. And there's three examples. So I heard the small business owner up in Jersey made the news, right? And he took out a mortgage on his house in order to cover his lifelong employees, waiters and waitresses type of thing.
Wow.
I was like, that's awesome. You're right. Cause especially in that business, that industry, right? Yeah. You can be done once you're out, So I thought that was cool. Another case, HVAC commercial business out of Houston, dipping into the guy's personal savings, right? To float his top guys, got to let go a lot of people, but his top guys, his lifers, if you will, covering those guys out of his personal savings. So I thought that was cool. Third example, but not a positive one. This is kind of the counterbalance, so not everything is rose-colored lenses. Sure. Another private practice saying no vacations, no bonuses, but we're going to stay. But it's like, okay, that's the stick, mm-hmm. right? But to like what we were just saying, why? It's like you're telling me I'm going to lose what I depend upon, mm-hmm. right? But you're not telling me why and how you're going to recoup it. So that, well, when do I get a bonus, right? If I get quarterly bonuses, at what point do you foresee it, or how you handle it? It's one of those, I need you to not take a bonus because of this. This is the mechanics of what it is, right? And you can't take vacation because I need you to work back those measures that, it's like something, because I can't be a team player, right? And say, I'm going to take it on the chin as an employee because I see how it relates. So you know how you and I would do a project and we talk about organizational change management. It's like, if you want somebody to change, you have to help them relate to my role, to my CEO's initiative. Here's how I play into it. Therefore, I'm more likely to come along for the ride because it's relevant to me.
Yeah.
But if you just do this to me and you don't make it relevant to me, I'm not going to like it.
So I ask everybody this: for the community, meeting the neighbors that they have lived there for 10 years and they suddenly are having great conversations. Like I've done some things where we put out chalk and created different activities that people can kind of do on their own just so they feel connected.
Yep.
I'm curious if you've seen something or you do something that's really kind of touched you that maybe others would be able to replicate or at least kind of mimic.
Halsey, where we live, is a very giving neighborhood anyway. So particularly in this time, there's a community Facebook page, there's a community Facebook classified page to sell stuff, there's a community HOA page, I have a page just for our street, right?
Wow.
So we all communicate in so many different ways, and through that, you've seen, regular entrance, intake of food trucks so we're getting outside, service in. And so the neighbors are all chatting and talking. So I've met more people just because of that than you bump into people at the food truck, and you stay your 6 feet away and you say hi. And we joke about the fact that we're eating out of food trucks in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
Right? And we had a driveway chalk, day, and it made the newspapers and all that. And we had the Easter Bunny driving around the neighborhood, and so kids were in their yards, and there's a birthday brigade that drive. It could be 60 cars, right? That they just drive by the house of whoever's birthday it is and honk, driving by slowly.
Yeah,
honk.
awesome.
So this community's off the charts, with that. And then we've been doing. I live in a cul-de-sac, so we pull a fire pit out there, several nights a week, and just the kids are playing for as long as they can, and then the adults go back out there and just chit chat. Which is funny because you got the fire pit, but we're all kind of so far away.
But you're there, right? You're there, and like you're doing something. You might have done a fire pit like once a month, but now you're doing it more time.
All the time, all the time. And we've been doing fish fries because my older son is out there fishing, in the local ponds just to get out and do something, and so he'll fish for a couple weeks. The next thing you know, he's bringing like a big gallon bag of fillets, and so we'll just fish fry. And it's really cool from the community element, what people are doing, and they're all coping. So it's like, what beyond Easter? What was before Easter? There's Valentine's Day. Oh no, it was St. Patty's Day. That's what it was.
Yeah.
So they on Facebook again, they also put a shamrock in your window, and the kids would be driven around. They'd try and count how many they would see, right? So and then for Easter, they said, let's do Easter eggs in the window. So they're doing things so that their cars driving by all the time because people are just trying to get out. I mean, even just older folks who just driving around. Yeah, and so everybody just waves, but then you'll see the kids, and so the neighborhood is. I mean, they're off the charts.
That's wonderful. Well, and so many good ideas there too. So like people can just like I think we're gonna start creating our own holidays. Like going into this, I think like we're not gonna be like, all right, I've started to put Christmas decorations. So like, forget it. We're just gonna make it pretty. It's gonna be beautiful. You're gonna love it. Everybody's gonna call me in like 60 days. It'll be fine.
Right.
Down after, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, I thought the idea of like putting something in the windows for the kids to find. Yeah. Right, and count that was pretty neat but that works for a certain age demographic.
Yeah.
The birthday brigade. Thank you. I thought that was very cool, and I saw some of the pictures, and it literally was, I mean, just stacked. And of course the parent was just like, it was amazing. That was a pretty cool idea.
It's huge. Yeah. All right, sir. Well, I appreciate you. I'll share some of this. And then let the world just kind of learn from you.
Cool, man.
I'm just super grateful.
No worries. I was glad you set it up. It's it's always good talking with you. So it's good to see you.